do to that little girl, Rob?
I burned her.
What would you like to do with the whole world?
Burn it all.
Backdraft, Hollywood's fictional account of a deranged arsonist. But this weekend, Hollywood itself got torched by a real fire starter. The suspect nabbed on Monday, in court Wednesday, but with his arrest, bizarre and disturbing details. A strange relationship with his mother, a history of psychiatric and psychological problems. Did mental illness drive this man to a fiery rampage? Or is that just a smokescreen? I'm talking to one of the suspect's friends to get the answers. So again, the question, is mental illness to blame for the fires that had much of Los Angeles on edge? Take a look at this. Police say this is the man who terrorized Los Angeles for 4 days beginning the New Year holiday. Harry Burkhart is a 24-year-old German national who has publicly said, F the United States. The work of federal and local police agencies in at least 2 countries helped bring him in. He is charged with 37 counts of arson, and more could be filed. A total of 52 fires were set in cars in the parking structures of Hollywood area apartments. Police say it is Burkhart on the surveillance tapes. Here's where the case takes an even stranger turn. Burkhart came to the United States on October 20th. He is accused by German officials of setting fire to a home there, owned by his family. His mother, who is in custody in this country, has immigration issues, possible gang ties, and fraud problems. She's accused of not paying a bill for breast implants. Burkhart needed help to stand in court. There are unconfirmed reports that he has a history of mental illness and autism. And tonight, a doctor who knew Harry Burkhart is on the record saying that Burkhart was autistic and severely depressed and in PTSD. That was in 2010. This was confirmed by CNN. Joining me, Shlomo Elodie. He's a hairdresser who knows Harry Burkhart. Dr. Soraya Bacchus, a psychiatrist, and Alan Duke is a reporter for CNN. Alan was in the courtroom when Burkhart was arraigned today. Alan, do you think these kinds of impressions that these doctors allege would explain what you saw in court today?
Something has to explain what this behavior was. It's the most bizarre courtroom behavior I have ever seen in decades of covering high-profile cases. This guy is obviously under a lot of pressure. He could spend the rest of his life in prison, so very anxious. So he was just basically looking at the ceiling, his eyes closed, his mouth open, completely limp. 3 deputies had to hold him up during the entire hearing.
So it was like he was in a fugue state and he just sort of fell back into the chair?
Yes, but one of the deputies holding him up told me later that she thought he was faking it.
Oh, interesting. Now, questions about Burkhart's mental state first surfaced 2 years ago when his mother was named in a court action. She, at that time, presented a letter from a doctor, again, a letter from a doctor, in order to prevent her son from testifying. It read, in part, quote, he is not mentally stable. Together with autism, he has severe anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and a sleeping condition. Shlomo, you knew him, right?
Of course. You know, especially hairstylist clients share with you detailed stuff.
Did he seem like somebody with mental illness? Did he seem in any way inappropriate? Or did he discuss with you any serious symptoms he was having?
Well, I cut his hair last week, and after the haircut, you talk about politics, we talk what's going on in the Middle East, always is curious what's going on there. I didn't see any sign, not of stress, no depression, no
he didn't
anger.
stand out as a client. He lived above you, right?
He lived above the salon, and I charge him $20 for the haircut, the way I charge for every other client. He come every 3 weeks till 1 month. And he lived with his mom.
He was just a normal, conversant guy. There was no signs or evidence of anything.
Complete normal, smiling, and also he tipped me $20, which is good tipper.
So he had bad judgment in his tipping, and so no, okay.
Well, you know,
good judgment, I guess it is. Dr. Bacchus, I want to go out to you. Help us explain this. There's all sorts of. Here's how I want to frame the question to you, because you're going to have to make sense of this for us. Number one, I have 2 questions. One is let's go to this one first. Is it surprising to you that someone who's capable of these kinds of behavior could come for a haircut every 3 weeks and no one notice anything unusual about him?
No, not at all. I mean, it's very typical when you have these kinds of disorders or mental illness to be very normal and functioning where nobody would notice anything, generally speaking, not in day-to-day kinds of activities.
Okay, then the other question I have is that the word autism has come up here. And by the way, my understanding is that one of the doctors who made this diagnosis did so without applying any objective measures of this. both for the PTSD, the depression, and the autism, and was an obstetrician and was doing it to help with immigration issues. So all that is very suspect in my mind.